Nepheesa Collier sends a message to Caitlin Clark with her performance in the All-Stars. As we all know, the WNBA is not going through the best times. Well, at least in what refers to TV ratings and the increasing fame among players. Times could not be better. However, regarding how the players deal with each other and other stuff like refereeing and league organization could also be better. Example of this is what happened the other night, when Nepheesa Collier was the center of attention and stole the show at the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game. She was not just a team captain, she also set a new record. The spark, a small playful dig from the other captain, Caitlin Clark. Before the big game, Caitlin Clark, who loves to be competitive and fun at the same time, tossed a gentle tease at Collier when they were picking teams. It looked like simple teasing, but Collier took it seriously. Right onto the court. "I told you we were taking you down," Collier said after the game, calling back to what Clark had said before. Collier drove her team with a top-notch show, scoring 36 points, a record in All-Star competition, beating the past top scorer by Eriko Gunbowl 34. Her team won by a big difference, 151-131 over Team Clark. The star from Minnesota Lynx, who has been scoring over 23 points per game this season, won MVP of the night, proving she is one of the top players in the league. Team spirit shines. Collier had several teammates from Minnesota with her, and their team spirit was clear. "We know what we expect from each other," she noted after the game, showing how well they work together. The All-Star Game also saw the first-ever four-point shot, bringing more thrill. Paige Buchers made the first-ever four-pointer, kicking up the scores. Also, Skylar Diggins made WNBA history with the first triple-double in All-Star Game history. Off the court, players wore shirts saying, "Pay us what you owe us," making a strong point during talks with the league. That is what we were saying before about the league not going through the best times. Unconditional love for Clark. Though Caitlin Clark did not play due to her injury, she was a big support from the bench, cheering on her team and enjoying the vibe. Her growing popularity has sure pulled more eyes to the WNBA this season, and her impact off the court keep growing too. Any doubts about Collier's strength were put to rest at this All-Star Game. Her comeback to Clark's tease was as moving as it was strong, turning a fun match into a highlight of her career. With Clark and Collier as two of the WNBA's main stars, fans have much to look forward to. This rivalry is set to grow even more exciting and fierce. On a night where basketball met entertainment and the brightest stars in the WNBA lit up the floor, it wasn't just Caitlin Clark's spotlight. It was also Nepheesa Collier's moment to speak volumes, not with her words, but with her game. In a weekend built around hype, social media buzz, and all-star flair, much of the narrative entering the game revolved around Clark, the rookie phenom, media magnet, and three-point lightning rod from Indiana. But when the ball tipped off, and the crowd roared under the neon lights of Phoenix, it was Nepheesa Collier who stole the moment and sent a clear, confident message: respect the vets. A performance with intent. From the very first possession, Collier played like someone with something to prove, not out of bitterness or rivalry, but out of the kind of quiet intensity that champions carry. She wasn't flashy. She was flawless. With every spin in the post, every silky jumper, every well-timed assist, Collier was announcing, "I'm still here. I've always been here." By halftime, she had 18 points, 7 rebounds, and had completely disrupted the offensive rhythm of the opposing team. Caitlin Clark, playing in her first All-Star appearance, had a respectable showing. A couple of logo threes, some crowd-pleasing assists, and that familiar court vision that made her a household name. But Collier was the storm behind the spotlight. This wasn't just a game for Nepheesa. This was a statement, a subtle rivalry. There was no bad blood between the two. Let's make that clear. In fact, they shared smiles during warm-ups, participated in shooting games on the sidelines, and even engaged in a light-hearted exchange during the four-point shot contest the night before. But there's a different kind of competition in professional sports, the kind that brews quietly between generations. Nepheesa Collier has been the face of consistency since entering the league in 2019, a WNBA Rookie of the Year, a two-time All-Star, an Olympian. She has paid her dues. And now, With Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise and viral fame taking center stage, Collier, like many other stars, is being reminded how quickly the narrative can shift. So she reminded everyone who she is. Leadership on display. What made Collier's performance even more powerful wasn't just her stat line. It was her presence. She orchestrated the defense. She commanded the floor. She rallied her teammates when the game tightened in the third quarter. And when the final buzzer sounded, with 28 points, 11 rebounds, and a game MVP trophy in her hands, she did it all with the poise of a veteran leader. When asked post-game about her motivation, she didn't drop names. She didn't shade Clark. Instead, she smiled and said, "I just wanted to remind people that All-Star games are about celebrating everyone, new stars, rising stars, and the ones who've been grinding year after year. We're all here for a reason." But make no mistake, the message was sent, loud and clear. Clark's graceful reception. To Caitlin Clark's credit, she didn't shy away from Collier's brilliance. During her own media availability, Clark applauded Nepheesa's leadership. "Fee was unreal. That's the kind of performance that sets the tone. I hope I can be that consistent one day. She deserves all the praise." In that moment, the difference in experience showed, and so did the mutual respect. Clark, still learning the pace of the pro game, looked at Collier not as a rival, but as a model. And perhaps that, more than anything, is what made the entire night special. A shifting of the narrative, not the throne. The media loves a new hero. And Clark is that hero, bringing in massive TV ratings, selling out arenas, and giving the WNBA a level of attention it's rarely seen. But the All-Star Game was a reminder that the league isn't being saved, it's being shared. Nepheesa Collier's performance wasn't a rejection of the new wave. It was an invitation to respect the foundation, a silent but strong declaration that the league's greatness isn't dependent on one player, but built on the work of many. What comes next? The WNBA's second half will be fascinating. Clark will return to Indiana hungry to prove she belongs not just as a star, but as a winner. Meanwhile, Collier, anchoring the Minnesota Lynx, will continue her MVP-caliber campaign with a chip the size of a basketball on her shoulder. And don't be surprised if this quiet competition turns into one of the league's defining dynamics, not out of malice, but because greatness often brings out the best in others.